Do you want to upgrade your science writing skills? If you clicked on this video, I'm hoping that you do, because that's what we're here to do. No matter whether you're in your graduate studies, you're starting a company, you're doing your own thing that you want to promote your research, anything like that, this video is for you, and it will teach you some tips as to how to upgrade the quality of your science writing work. Hi, my name is Jesse. I help scientists learn the principles of science writing and science marketing to be able to communicate their science more effectively. So that's what we're here to do today, and this is going to be some quick tips on how to upgrade that skill and just level up your work. The first thing that I would say is the easiest way to upgrade the writing for any individual work that you're doing is to just increase the amount of research that you're doing. Do more research, look deeper into the references, look deep into the cited by type of resources, look at YouTube for webinars or other sort of tutorials that are on a given subject. It doesn't matter what stage of your career you're in, even if you're doing your graduate work, even if you're a professor and you're watching this, just research things more, even if you think you're a subject matter expert on that area, because there's always more that you can do. There's always more peripheral information that you can gather. Why is this important? It's because it gives you a deeper understanding of the topic. It kind of helps you have a more well-rounded idea of what to emphasize and what to cut out, what is important, what isn't, and that'll give you more confidence in terms of what you're writing. And how that manifests, you might not be able to tell, but I know that when I have looked into a topic deeply and researched it well, that I tend to be a lot sharper in my descriptions and do a lot better job at hitting those points that are really essential and hitting them cleanly. Tip number 2, go out and actually have some real conversations with actual researchers in the field, experts in the field. This is a really big thing that I didn't take advantage of when I was doing my graduate work. And it's something that I really feel makes a huge difference in the quality of how you can communicate something. Because it goes back to that idea, once again, of understanding things well-rounded. There's a lot of topics that just doesn't get covered properly. You maybe have these corner questions that aren't really addressed really well in any of the subjects and any of the resources that you've seen to that point. If you just get a real subject matter expert on the phone, more often than not, they can answer that question for you, or at least point you in the direction of where you should be going, or even say yeah, that isn't something that we've been able to determine yet. That kind of confidence really gives you, I think, a good peace of mind, and they're so good at giving you those bits of information that you had never thought of before. You get those surprising stories that you can bring into your research and bring into your writing in one way or another. It's something that every time that I have a conversation like that, even if the interview that I get into with somebody specifically doesn't go great, I always feel like I learn a ton about the field, and it will influence my writing going forward. And it's something that I think a lot more people should take advantage of, and I wish I did it when I was in my graduate work. Number 3, simplify. Simplify. So simplify your jargon, simplify your sentences, and simplify your paragraphs. All 3 I think are important. For jargon is one that I think that scientists kind of feel that every scientist understands all of the jargon and all of the terminology that they do, when that's really not the case. So that people who are even tiny bit outside of your area of expertise can sometimes be very unfamiliar with certain terms. And yeah, you can define them within the work that you're doing so that it's followable. But when you have a ton of terms that you're defining and people have to try and keep track of, it leads to cognitive overload. Essentially, it just makes the whole piece feel a lot harder to read. It's a lot heavier of a lift to get through. So really avoid that. It's actually going to help a lot in the readability, even for other experts, but especially if you're doing it for a broader audience, for a wider audience. You can also simplify your sentences. Break those up into smaller sentences. My rule of thumb is avoid sentences that are 25 words or more, and almost never write a sentence that is 40 words or more. And that's something that it's more common than you think that it is in scientific writing. It makes it so hard to read because it's a combination of it's just a clunkier, like you have to keep more things in your head at the same time, and that just makes it more difficult, more heavy as a read. It becomes a little bit like unclear and muddy too as to like what you're referring to where. So like there's a lot of disadvantages. It just makes you feel like disorganized, and it's just a bad style as well. So there's really no advantages. Break those sentences up. It's almost always possible to do. And if you don't think that it is, you're not trying hard enough more often than not. And then for the third simplification that you can do is breaking up your paragraphs into smaller paragraphs. This one's probably pretty easy more often than not. Like if you just like look at it and think about it at all, you'd be like, oh yeah, this paragraph could be broken in half. And that also like, creates more white space. The thoughts are more segmented in a way that is a little bit more digestible. So it shouldn't be that hard to do, but like I don't really have a rule of thumb here, but just try and break them up so that they don't look quite as intimidating and they're a little bit easier to read. Number 4, take the time to edit your work. I really cannot explain this properly. Like it is so important to edit your work, to get others to edit your work, to use tools out there to edit your work, to like do a lot of editing for it, because it's something that it's like, I know it's not fun. I don't enjoy editing my own work per se, but it really does like level things up, it polishes it up. And if you're not finding things to change and to upgrade once you, especially your first couple of read-throughs of an edit, you're not trying hard enough. Like you should learn for what to look for and things. Definitely use Grammarly as a tool or things like that. I don't know what else is out there. Grammarly is the one that I use the most. I mean, maybe like ChatGPT can also help you with that too. That's one that I've been fooling around with as well, that can give you more like stylistic, structure type suggestions rather than just the actual grammar type suggestions that Grammarly specializes in. So like use those tools, that especially if you don't have anybody who can edit it for you. You can hire an editor of some sort. Like I can help you edit if you want help with something like that, if you don't have an editor to work with. So that's another suggestion to consider as well, especially if this is something that you really care about, and a little bit of help there can help, especially those high profile pieces, important pieces, quite a lot, to have that extra opinion there. And it's also something that, especially when you're using these tools, and if you're hiring an editor to help you, like you don't have to take their suggestions, but having that suggestion and like thinking about the way that these other resources are considering the content will often really help to upgrade your abilities as a writer. And number 5, and this ties in well with what I was talking about with the editor, is you could hire also a science writing coach. This is somebody who will help you to improve your writing skills and to like look at your writing and give an assessment of, what are the areas of your strengths and your weaknesses, ideas of how to modify the way that you're writing, maybe give you some exercises as well to try out, to practice given, styles, etc. So this is a type of service that really focuses on the needs of the writer, not the content. This is the difference between an editor and a coach. So an editor is going to be focusing on like, what is this content, what does this piece, this article need in order to be better, and they're going to focus on that, which is good and important, but they're not so much focused on what are the skills that the writer needs to develop in order to be an effective communicator. A science writing coach will actually be helping more on that skills side of it. So that can be a big advantage for some people, depending on where you are in your process. And I, of course, do offer that as a service. There'll be some information about that in the description if you want to check that out. But that'll be it for this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and you can see more information about this and the article that's associated as well in the description. But that'll be it. Thank you so much for hanging out. Take care, folks.